Hello again. It is Wing Nation presented by Sage Fruit. Talking sprint car racing, our favorite time of the week, and we are so glad that you have joined us. Steve Post in our Concord, North Carolina studios, joining us from the Mifflintown studios in Pennsylvania, Ashley Stremme. Hello, Ashley. How are you?
We are doing well. We are in the thick of it, obviously coming down to an end here for Pennsylvania Speed Week. So fingers crossed, Mother Nature continues to cooperate.
You are in the thick of it. It is nuts up there in central Pennsylvania, and it's only going to get nuttier. We'll talk about that a little bit later on, but thanks for the World of Outlaw NOS Energy Drink Sprint Cars got nutty, and when I say nutty, I mean lucrative. That's for sure. For David Gravel, $250,000 BillionAuto.com, Huset's High Banks Nationals, presented by Menards. And good to see David Gravel score that win, Ashley, on Saturday night up at Huset's.
It sure was. Obviously, he had his little boy with him. The whole family was there. And obviously, for everybody at Huset's with their sponsorship. But what my take from it was, there was no dominant, David did a great job all weekend, but there was no dominant performance by anyone when you had three prelim winners, Kyle Larson's, James McFadden, and Logan Schuchart all picking up $20,000. I thought was really awesome that there was no repeat winners.
Yeah, and Buddy Kofoid was in the hunt the whole time and looked like he might cash the big check. The motor goes poof. For David Gravel, last year he looked like he might have been in the hunt. Remember that weird thing where the pit door or the door at the flag stand swung open and tore the nose off his race car? So you win some, you lose some, a motor blows up, a door flies open. It's sprint car racing. And David Gravel was the one that cashed the big check. This year's earnings for David Gravel, Ashley, and we're in June. We have just started the month of money, $428,450. Sprint car ratings per sprint car ratings. Seventh win of the season. So kudos to David, and I love seeing the family. You know his family. We love his family, every one of them, and it was so cool to see their pictures in Victory Lane.
Yes, awesome. And just cool to see him be rewarded I forgot about the door coming open there. So being rewarded was really awesome as well.
Rewarded well, that's for sure. Rewarded handsomely with $250,000, no doubt about it. Hey, we have a great program coming up. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., one of our all-time favorites, joins us here on the program. We're going to talk about Daytona. We're going to talk about, he won that little 500 race in NASCAR. We're going to talk about sprint cars and a whole lot more, so we'll do that here in just a moment. Stay with us. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., he joins us next here on Wing Nation. The Outlaws are headed back to the Pacific Northwest. Join us for 3 action-packed nights of racing August 31st, September 1st and 2nd at Skagit Speedway when the World of Outlaw NOS Energy Drink Sprint Cars return for the Sage Fruit Skagit Nationals. Kickoff for the Sage Fruit Skagit Nationals begins Wednesday, August 30th with a pre-race party, live band, Sage Fruit apple giveaways, and more. Then catch Donnie Schatz and the rest of the World of Outlaws as they take on Washington's best sprint car drivers Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights. Details at SkagitSpeedway.com. Welcome back. It is Wing Nation, presented by Sage Fruit. Let's go right to the Sage Fruit hotline. Joining us, I love all of the accolades we can say, but I really like calling him a Daytona 500 champion. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. joins us. Hello, Ricky. How are you?
That doesn't get tired. I don't get tired of hearing that. So, it's been a great year, and I'm doing great.
We're going to talk a lot of sprint car racing, but I do kind of want to start with that. It's not often on Wing Nation we get a Daytona 500 champ. You're 4 months out or so from that. Just what does it mean to you now after you've savored it? You've done umpteen zillion media tours. What's that been like now that it's kind of soaked in a little bit?
The coolest thing that I've taken away from it, or at least at the time, we got to promote the sport for a week, right? And, that's promoting me, our partners, our race team. I took a lot of pride in that. I felt like that was a really cool thing to be able to do, especially NASCAR's 75th, year. And so that was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that, going to Chicago, New York, and everything in between. So that was neat. But I think now, going to the racetrack, obviously we go to different venues every week in different areas of the country, and you see all these fans that you haven't seen yet this year, and they're all can't wait to tell me congrats for the Daytona 500. So that's pretty special as well.
Ricky, you started this racing venture when you were 6 years old in karts. Obviously, an incredible career. Adding the Daytona 500 to your list is huge, and that's what I'm sure you aspired to be when you were that young. If you could look back on it now, is there something that you would tell your 6-year-old self, or any kid that aspires to do what you've done? Is there anything you could enlighten kids with today?
Looking back at like kind of how I came through and got to where I am today, I don't know if I would tell my 6-year-old self anything other than just to do what we did. My dad, laid a really good foundation for me to race and taught me so much at an early age. But I think for me, it was more about just kind of staying in the moment that I was in, try not to think too far ahead. And so like for me, when I raced go-karts, I was all about go-karts. I wasn't worried about going sprint car racing or micro racing. I just really focused in on go-karts. And then when I went sprint car racing, it was all about sprint car racing and what I was doing. I didn't think about going to NASCAR or, anything like that. So I felt like for me, what helped me was just really staying exactly where I was and stay focused on that.
Ricky, back to your cup program just a little bit. Not only have you guys won the Daytona 500, but there has been multiple races this year where you've been in a position to race in the top 5, the top 10. You're a small one-car team. What has been the key to this performance this year? Because quite honestly, as a guy that follows this sport, you guys have been a blast to watch.
Yeah, it's been fun. My guys are having a great time. We struggled at Nashville this week, which was a bummer. Obviously wanted to, kick off the next part of the season on the right foot, and we kind of stumbled a little bit. But, all in all, man, this season has been, so fun. Every time I show up to the racetrack, get in the race car, knowing that I'm going to have a car capable of running in the top 15. And then, a lot of times this year, like you said, in the top 10, around the top 5. And battle some really good race teams and some big race teams. So the biggest key, I think, is a couple things. Mike Kelly, his leadership of kind of running our group of guys and making them, believe in themselves. Me believe in myself, more than we probably believe in ourselves. But he kind of ramps that up. And then our alliance with Hendrick, it's gotten deeper this year than it ever has been, and I think that's been those two things really have propelled us forward this year.
With that being said, obviously this is your third season with JTG. You were at Roush Fenway for a very long time. We talk about this with a lot of the sprint car teams when they get new crew guys or crew chiefs or switch teams. What's it been like learning that communication and now kind of settling into knowing your guys?
Yeah, I mean, the first year of, I guess this is my maybe 4th year.
Oh.
Yeah, maybe 4th year now. It goes by so fast. But the first year was during COVID. And so, I wasn't at the shop hardly ever. And, I'd come to the house and then go to the racetrack and, go straight to the car. I mean, it was obviously a really weird time. So, I really feel like it's only been 3 years of actual, being in the shop, being integrated in the process of our team meetings and just going to hang out at the shop and hanging out with the guys. And, luckily for us, we've really had really constant, guys and personnel throughout our whole shop at JTG Doherty Racing. So, it's been nice to, now, 4 years in, really have a good groove of, what everybody does, in their off time, and then, just getting to know everybody. And, it's a lot of fun. It's definitely a family organization, which I really enjoy.
Yeah, it is. They're good folks over there, that's for sure. Really like what you guys have going on. What we're going to do, we're going to step away, and we're going to come back. And, this is Wing Nation. We want to talk sprint car racing, so stay with us. We're going to do that with Ricky Stenhouse Jr. coming up next. The Outlaws are headed back to the Pacific Northwest. Join us for 3 action-packed nights of racing August 31st, September 1st and 2nd at Skagit Speedway when the World of Outlaw NOS Energy Drink Sprint Cars return for the Sage Fruit Skagit Nationals. Kickoff for the Sage Fruit Skagit Nationals begins Wednesday, August 30th with a pre-race party, live band, Sage Fruit apple giveaways, and more. Then catch Johnny Schatz and the rest of the World of Outlaws as they take on Washington's best sprint car drivers Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights. Details at SkagitSpeedway.com. Welcome back. It is Wing Nation presented by Sage Fruit. Let's go back to the Sage Fruit hotline. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. joins us. We had a great time talking NASCAR, and we love our NASCAR racing around here, but sprint cars. And I want to talk about you as a driver, Ricky, because with the High Limit Series, your 360 program with your dad, you haven't ran a lot of races, but I think you've ran a few more and probably have a few more on the docket than you had in years past. How's it going? How's driver Ricky Stenhouse doing in the sprint car?
He's struggling with the 410, that's for sure. I think the 360 program, obviously I feel really good when I get in there. I don't know. We just, with the 410 stuff, just having a hard time getting comfortable or getting the feel in the car that I need. I felt like we've gotten better every time we've been in the car, which has been fun, but Dad and I are definitely scratching our heads trying to figure out, exactly what we need setup-wise to be dialed in. But it's been fun, going out and racing 410s and in the challenge. It is there's so many good sprint car racers right now across the country, and the teams are good. I feel like the competition's as best it's ever been. And so when you show up, I'm not like Kyle, who has been running 30 races a year at least, and obviously he's really good. So got a little room to improve, but it's been fun, getting back in the sprint car and the midget as well.
Obviously, your driver at Clausen Marshall Racing, Stenhouse, Sheldon Haudenschild.
Yeah.
Do you lean on him at all? I mean, obviously, I'm sure your driving styles are completely different, but do you lean on Sheldon at all?
I'm in constant communication, obviously, with Sheldon and Ripper and our whole Nelson Energy Drink Sprint Car team. They've kind of been on the struggle as well. I mean, we've won some races, but we haven't been super consistent, and feel like we're a little bit off. And when we hit everything right, we're in contention, but it seems like we're kind of struggling as well. So for me, it's been nice to be able to be in the sprint car now, and in the 410, and be able to kind of talk through some of those things that they're struggling with, because I kind of felt some of those similar things. So definitely keeping constant communication with those guys, and they're pulling their hair out trying to figure out how to get faster and a little bit more consistent. So it's a long season, grueling season in sprint car racing, and we still got a long ways to go, and I'm looking forward to their progress.
Well, there's progress and there's a long way to go, and there's a lot on the line, Ricky. This season in sprint car racing, the state of sprint car racing is what I'm going to ask you. We've had high limits. It just ran for $250,000 on Saturday night at Huset's. There's $1 million race at Eldora. Coming up, we're going to talk about the month of July across the sprint car world. As a team owner, as a guy that's so interested in it, what do you think where we're at with the state of 410 sprint car racing right now?
It's in a great spot. The West Coast, Justin Sanders just won like $82,000 on Saturday night. Obviously, what Todd and his crew did there at Huset's, $20,000 every single night for the prelim nights, and then $250 on the final night. Pretty spectacular. As a race team owner, when you don't win those races, last year we won the High Banks Nationals there. But now this year, I'm like, man, I wish there was a little more throughout the field. So money-wise, but last year I was really happy about it. But now it's awesome to see, what the series are doing, what everybody in sprint car racing that promotes races, the series, the World of Outlaws. Obviously week in, week out, we're traveling with them up and down the road, and the way they have it set up, it definitely helps us get up and down the road. And, when you don't win those races and when you are struggling like we are right now, it's nice to be following a series that kind of helps take care of us on the backside. So, we've been, itching to win some of those big races we did last year, and that can really turn the season around really quick. So obviously Eldora coming up is one that everybody's looking at.
It seems like Sheldon always starts to capitalize midway through the season, towards the end of the season, and he really gets on a roll, and it's all about that momentum. And speaking of that, Ricky, obviously the highest forms of NASCAR to sprint car racing, whatever it is, we all know it's a mental game, especially when we get in a rut like this. And how do you mentally get through those ruts and get through the struggle to know that you're just a driver, yeah, but ultimately you're a big piece of it, and sometimes you get the brunt of it, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, definitely it's easy to just, say, hey, the driver doesn't do their job, right? And as a team owner, sometimes I look at that and I'm like, I called Sheldon the other day and I'm like, hey, what'd you do on the start here? Or, and just kind of rerunning things, with him. And then, then I call the crew chief and talk to Ripper like, hey, car didn't look very good here or there, so like for me, it's as a driver, you want, if you're trying to get out of that rut, you got to have, good people around you. And that is from, team owners, crew guys, and sponsors, obviously, that, help you go up and down the road. We got the best in the business with NOS Energy Drink. Lauren, she does so much for our sport. And I think we got really good crew guys that, pump Sheldon up. And then you got us team owners that really believe in every single one of our guys that we have. And it's, trying to let them play it out and not put too much pressure on them, any given weekend. I think we've seen, throughout our season, we're like, oh man, we figured it out. And then obviously you got to go race again the next night. Right. And so, like I said, the schedule's a grind, and it's an up and down season. And then when you got people like the 2 and the 41, I feel like are the fastest cars just about each and every week. And, and then, obviously, Brad's experience, and I don't think he's been the fastest, but, his experience is what is keeping him in the game right now, because there's 2 cars that are clearly faster than everybody else right now.
Really, truly is. Those speed in those 2 cars are amazing. Final question for you, Ricky. You say surrounding yourself with good people. You mentioned that. Since we've chatted with you on Wing Nation, you have gotten married. Madison, your was fiance. I almost said fiance. Your wife, yeah. Madison. What's it been like finding that match to go along with your life? Because you two really seem like you are a really good couple.
Yeah, I mean, like I was talking, surrounding yourself with all the right people. Madison is a huge supporter of mine, but she also will let me know when she thinks I messed up. We were at Nashville yesterday, and on the ride back to the airport, she's like, hey, you need to chill out on the radio a little bit and not get so mad. So, it's good to have people like that in your corner that are huge supporters. And that are really invested as much as you are, into, my career, and then everything that we have going on, outside of the racetrack. I feel like we make a really good team, and it's nice to be able to, share life with her and do what we do.
No, she's a keeper, that's for sure. She really, truly is. I said final question, but Craig just said we got a few more seconds left. How's the workout? How's the fitness? How's all of that going? You still beating up the weights at the gym on a regular basis?
The problem is I beat the weights up at the gym, but I really like to eat. So I have been off track for about 3 months of eating. So got to get that dialed back in to go with the routine. But the gym routine's always pretty good.
Ricky, it is always a pleasure getting to catch up with you, whether it's at the track or here on Wing Nation. Thanks for your time this week.
Not a problem. Thank you all.
There we go. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. joining us on the Sage Fruit Hotline. Stay with us. More Wing Nation in just a moment. The Outlaws are headed back to the Pacific Northwest. Join us for 3 action-packed nights of racing August 31st, September 1st and 2nd at Skagit Speedway, when the World of Outlaw NOS Energy Drink Sprint Cars return for the Sage Fruit Skagit Nationals. Kickoff for the Sage Fruit Skagit Nationals begins Wednesday, August 30th with a pre-race party, live band, Sage Fruit apple giveaways, and more. Then catch Donnie Schatz and the rest of the World of Outlaws as they take on Washington's best sprint car drivers Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights. Details at SkagitSpeedway.com. Welcome back. It is Wing Nation, presented by Sage Fruit. Ashley Stremme and Steve Post here. And Ashley, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., man, the young man has got it going on across board on all fronts. Home front, racing front, sprint car. He's got it all going on.
It's true, Stephen. It was cool. You know, we know Sheldon isn't having a Sheldon year by any means, and it was cool for him to kind of address that. And, you know, we all know it's racing. It's the roller coaster we live.
No doubt. It really, truly is. So great stuff. Always love hearing and chatting with Ricky Stenhouse Jr. The other big winner this past weekend was out on the West Coast, the NARC King of the West Series. They had the $62,000 to win Dirt Cup up at Skagit. And Ashley, a guy we met last year at Knoxville, Justin Sanders, picked up the win, got his biggest win of his career.
Yeah, and came out of there with more than 62,000. I believe it was 82,000 because he picked up the bonus leading all 40 laps. So, I mean, 20 grand for leading 40 laps flag to flag. That's a pretty darn good bonus.
That's a real good bonus, no doubt about it. In the dash that night, they had a motor problem. Now, he still qualified on the front row, but they didn't like it. They changed the motor, put in one that they had never ran before. Now, you want to talk about rolling the dice, baby, and scored the win. 28th different driver to win the Dirt Cup. On the podium, Justin Sanders, Zeb Wise, and Corey Day. Corey Day had ruled the weekend. He ruled the week before as well, but came up on the podium there as well. And Ashley, when I saw this from Fremont on Saturday night, it just really touched my heart. J.J. Hickle is a guy that you and I have really gotten to know and really got to like. Picked up his first win at Fremont. He's with the Ceiling Racing Team, picked up his first win. We got to know J.J. last couple of years. We got to know Shayna Barnes, his fiance, last year. Courageous battle with cancer, lost that battle in December. I've got to feel with JJ standing in victory lane there at Fremont that Shayna was looking down with tears in her eyes. I got to feel like that was what an amazing couple and a good win for JJ.
100%. We had him on the stage at Knoxville with us, and he shared the story of what Shayna was going through at the time. And the fact that she told him to continue on chasing his dreams was absolutely incredible. So like you said, Steve, I'm guarantee she was smiling down on that win at Fremont this last weekend.
Just really good. JJ Hickle, one of the really good guys in the sport. So that made my heart just a little bit happier when I saw him in victory lane up at Fremont. Great racetrack up there. We are getting ready. We are continuing. I think last week I referred to him as the high holy days in sprint car racing. Well, the high holy days in sprint car racing is ratcheted up when we look at this weekend, Ashley. I didn't realize this. The final four nights, there's $55,000 on the line if someone were to win all the races. It is a big finale, a big finish to Speed Week up in Pennsylvania.
Yes, Friday night, Williams Grove for the Mitch Smith Memorial, $20,000 to win. Saturday, Port Royal for the Greg Hodnick Classic, $10,000 to win. Sunday at Selinsgrove, the Opperman Boger Heitzelman Memorial for $10,000 to win. And then back at Port Royal on Monday for the Keith Kaufman Classic, paying $15,000 to win. So yes, big money on the line for a little Central PA Speed Weeks.
My God, big money on the line, and that's just all part of big money in July. Okay, the Brad Doty Classic, $15,000 to win on July 11th. The Million at Eldora on July 13th. That's a Thursday night. The Kings Royal is $175 to win. And when we leave Eldora, Ashley, it just keeps on going.
Yes, Lernerville, $25,000 for the Don Martin Memorial. Williams Grove for the Summer Nationals, $20,000 on Saturday. And it still keeps digging, Steve.
Grandview on Tuesday, July 25th, high limits, $23,000. And Port Royal, Saturday the 29th, the Living Legends Dream Race. It's only $10,000 to win, but there's two of them. 25 twin 25s, $10,000 to win each. The money, and a lot of that money's in Pennsylvania. It is going to be a big month of money, that is for sure. We really do appreciate Ricky Stenhouse Jr. joining us here on the program on the Sage Fruit Hotline. Love catching up with Ricky. But more important than all of that, and we say it every week, we sincerely mean it. Thank you for joining us here this week on Wing Nation, presented by Sage Fruit.